hair off of stuff.
It's so gross.
Okay, I believe we're live, Eric.
All right.
Oh, I just now got the indication that we're live.
Now we're live.
Mr. Rain has 2 wrenches. Not fair.
I think he did that one on his own.
So we've got a couple. First of all, I want to say hi to everybody that's here already. Thank you very much for joining. We really appreciate it. We're here with Eric with Life and Farmland, and we're just going to give this a couple minutes, let people start showing up. Everybody say hi. Silver Moon Acres Homestead. And then Rain Country and Mr. Rain and We Tree Bonsai are our moderators. We've loved having them moderate before.
Oh, yeah, they're awesome.
We've never really had any problems, or they're taking care of them well enough that we don't know.
Man, I just don't notice.
So, Deep South Homestead, how you doing?
Southern Art and Lefty's Hobby Farm.
Lefty's Hobby Farm is about a half an hour away from us, and we will meet him next week in Tennessee for the first time.
That's how it usually goes.
What's your weather up there like today, Eric?
It's, I think, somewhere in the mid-30s right now. It feels like we've gone back a little bit of time. We've been having rainy days here the last couple of days, so the wood stove's fired up pretty good right now. And it's, I don't know, I can't complain. I think we got decent weather coming here pretty quick. So
yeah, we also had that step back today.
Yeah, it was 80s yesterday, no activities for kids, and then it was in the 50s this evening, and of course that's when we're outside for 3 hours at softball and baseball. That was not fun.
Right. In fact, TJ's not even in bed yet.
No, he's going to be showing up here in a minute to say goodnight.
Sullivan family, how you guys doing?
Uncle Haas.
Oh, Uncle Haas.
Homesteading with the cases.
I gotta get those seeds planted, Uncle Haas. Thank you. Homesteading with the cases, in their last video mentioned how nice it was that you had given them the info on the tether that you used for the horse.
Oh yeah, that thing is awesome. Seriously, it really is.
Let's see. Rocky Brook. I'm not familiar with that one, and hopefully not country living. Was that Oregon style 61?
Yep.
Portuguese prepper. What's up? Watched him organically spray some fruit trees the other day.
yeah, he's got a lot of good stuff over there. I've been watching him here. He's been doing some Amish paste tomatoes. That's something that we've been started to do this year for the first time. And he's got a lot of similar projects that we got going on. It's been kind of fun to watch and see how things are going for him versus us.
Good night, bud. TJ's the last one to go to bed. Yeah. I really liked watching that fruit spraying video because we're about to put in like 10 fruit trees. So that was good stuff. We got quite a few people in here. What's that say, babe?
Which one?
Does that say
83.
83. That might be a record for us.
I think that is. They're all coming from
It's for Eric. All right. All right. So we'll go ahead and get rolling because, Eric, we are, as you know, we're going to try and keep this to an hour because I honestly believe no matter how good the content, people kind of start dropping off after an hour. I really kind of believe that, and we'll try. So we want
an hour. I'm just saying.
Yeah, just in full disclosure, I guess everybody. I don't know. Eric and I did a quick little
test run.
Quick little test run on this live stuff. Couple nights. When was that? Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, a couple minutes or 120 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Honestly, hiding on the other side of the camera.
So I think everybody knows, and the moderators, please. I've got all of Eric Life and Farmland's information in the description of this video, so please plaster the chat with that.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure most people know Eric and Life and Farmland, but please pimp them out. Next, what we like to start with these live shows is, and I think I'm really copying Big Family Homestead on this. I'm not sure, but we want to go ahead and start listing what channels are you watching right now, and what channels are you liking.
Oh, they're watching us right now.
Well, right now you're watching us, but you might be multitasking, watching 3 or 4 different channels. So
That is
Well,
true.
who are you guys watching right now? Who are your shout outs to? It can be yourself. It's perfectly fine. I love this aspect of just shouting out, helping out other channels and everything. So who are you watching? Let us know. Deep South Homestead likes Eric clean shaven.
Aren't they always?
Maybe if Deep South Homestead said that here, we could see it.
But they don't know if they like me clean shaven. They might not.
I have.
What is that? Southern Arc Homestead? I'm not familiar with that. Teal House, excellent. Cog Hill, excellent.
Art and Bree.
Brave Wilderness. Haas, I'm not familiar with that one.
Wrangle Star, Jay Knoll, Justin Rhodes.
Okay, Eric, as you know, as we discussed, also, there's a little bit of a time delay here. So people are still going to be going for a little while here. Did you have a shout out tonight? Do you want to do one?
I wanted to mention Daniel over at Arms Family Homestead. He's, I have to admit, it's been a little hard watching him here because we haven't quite got into that gardening season yet. And he's down there wearing t-shirts and he's been cranking along. It's been pretty fun to watch him over the last week or two, really getting his garden kind of prepped and ready here and getting seeds and stuff going in. He's also got a lot of goats and stuff if you like that type of stuff. Just seems like an all-around type of guy. He's I think he's a guy that has probably seen a lot of stuff. I'm not really quite sure what branch he's in law enforcement, if he's a sheriff or a state trooper. But I would imagine with that type of job, he's exposed to a lot of stuff. I think he's a good guy, full of information, I guess I should say, and just a real nice, humble guy as well.
Yeah, we agree. And just so I got a screenshot of his YouTube channel up there now, so we'll just say a couple things about him also, so that the screenshot stays up. But yeah, Jenny said he is a state trooper. Right?
I am 99% sure.
99% sure. And they
I'll
actually
probably get yelled at if I'm wrong.
Oklahoma just had Daniel mentioned it in a video, I think 2 or maybe 3 videos ago. They just lost a couple police officers in the line of duty here very recently. So yes. Anyways, hats off to them. And we love Daniel, even though he gives us junk all the time about his nice weather down there.
Yeah, he's good at that.
So that's good. So all right. You want to do your shout out next, or?
Sure. My shout out is to Amanda at the Fundamental Home. I had a couple questions about some stuff, and she willingly just gave me her phone number, said, here, call me, and was a wealth of information, gave me a bunch of tips and ideas for what it was I was going after. And it was just great to have somebody that I don't know in person just willing to talk to me about what I wanted to know about. It was awesome.
Yeah, she's
and she just has some awesome stuff and awesome frugal tips. Like, she is crazy.
I'm sure she is with everybody, but she has always been really nice to us.
She has been.
From the almost since we started YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, we did the first Frugal Family Food not long after we started. I mean, that was pretty quick, and it was our first collaboration, and honestly, I had no idea what a collaboration even was.
We were like, what's a collab?
Yeah.
A collab? What is that?
Her and Tangi reached out, and they're like, hey, we want you a part of this. I'm like, really? Are you sure? And it's just been awesome ever since then. So, yeah, she's great.
All right, yeah, and we're going to try and keep this moving so we can get this hour.
Yes.
I'm also going to do a shout-out. I'm going to do it to... for Cog Hill Farm. I've really been enjoying the content over there. He's another one that was, Peaches, the pig is awesome. Hello, Peaches, how are you? Really been, I think we found him through the contest as well.
Yeah.
And anyways, we just really been enjoying that, the content over there. And it's another one that, I don't always feel that our videography is all that great. Not like Eric's.
Oh no.
And a couple other people, but Cog Hill Farm is up there with some good videography too, I think. So those are our shout outs. Please go check those channels out. I will get all of them into the description after the show's done. Go like them.
Subscribe.
Share, subscribe, all that good jazz stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So we are, let me see, I gotta get my stuff up here.
What'd you do?
We are going to, and we're loosely keeping an eye on the chat, folks. So if you have something you want to bring to our attention or a question or anything, please put them in all caps, and we'll know that is for us. And as we're talking with Eric, we'll try to keep an eye on that. we don't want to bore Eric too much. We want to get talking with him, but we want to say a couple other things. We are going to start, we got the conference next weekend. You say it so I don't screw it up.
Butcher it.
Yeah.
Great Appalachian Homesteading Conference in Crossville, Tennessee.
And that is in roughly 10 days? Something.
Today's Thursday.
Next Saturday.
Yeah, next Saturday.
We are super excited about this. And this lovely lady right here got asked to teach a crocheting class at the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. Central.
It's
Central.
That's Central time?
Yeah. But we'll be down there
you
already.
Sure?
Yes, it says right on the thing.
Okay. So she says.
I know when I need to be there.
Does that mean I got to be up earlier or sleep in?
We'll figure that out.
Okay. So
I don't know.
Yeah, Deep South. We're looking forward to seeing everybody there. But what room is that in? I forget. It's in a special
media.
Probably a rubber
B,
room.
I think. Probably padded
rubber,
room. Yeah. A padded room. Yeah.
Okay. So after the conference, we are going to start doing a live show every Thursday night at this same exact time, 9 p.m. And our first topic of conversation will be the conference and what we liked and what we experienced and everything else. So we're really excited about that. And we will probably start every other weekend or every other Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern.
That's the plan.
Yep, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so on to the good stuff. As guys have probably figured out, we've got Eric from Life and Farmland with us.
I don't think they would have guessed that.
I don't know. I don't think so. We got all of his info in the description. Eric's videography and I want to say attention to detail and his ability to tell a story and get it out in a video and usually they're relatively short videos also, well, at least every video compared to ours is short. And it does such a great job, the different angles, the everything. And his Instagram account is exactly the same. If he posts a picture, it's usually a pretty thought out picture. So, except, there was this candy bar picture that
it caught me off guard.
What's that?
It caught me off guard. We ran down the store the other night, and there we were checking out and noticed this thing. And I oftentimes it just runs through my head what people are thinking, because a lot of times you wonder, oh, I'm a little tight on money. Do I get this or do I get that? And I decided to put that.
That's awesome. And we won't really say what it is because different people have different levels of family-friendly channel. And we do try to be family-friendly. So we encourage you to go over to Life and Farmland's Instagram page. And I think it was about 3 pictures ago.
It was funny.
And go check that out. I was rolling. It was great. So
I was looking at all the candy because I love sweets and I love candy. I'm like, oh, I like that. I like that. Wait, what's that?
So if you have not checked out Eric's channel, Life and Farmland, on Instagram, his wife is also Mrs. Life and Farmland.
Yes.
No spaces, no nothing. Check them out. Great content. And with that, Eric, please tell us about you, your channel, your whatevers. And I went tonight and I watched your very first video, which was almost exactly 2 years ago. It was about 2 years and a month and a half ago or so. Right? Yeah.
I don't know the date.
And even your first video, or at least the first one that you have up there right now, was just typical Eric. Great videography, great shots, great everything. So, yeah. But anyways, tell us about you and your channel and all that good stuff.
Well, see, that first video was one I didn't have to talk. I'm a kind of a shy guy, I guess you could say. But for us, our channel, we're a small family, or younger family, I guess. Moved out the country, I think about 5 or 6 years ago now, and just trying to be a little bit more self-sufficient. We do a garden usually every year, about 1,200 square feet. We heat full-time with firewood. That's mostly what a lot of my videos have been about, is a lot of firewood related stuff. I plan to share a little bit more stuff and try to branch out a little bit more, but that really is where my passion or my heart is like firewood type stuff. So I don't know. I think we have a very similar journey to you guys. You just kind of get out and you start getting different ideas and wanting to try things and stepping a little bit deeper in that water and trying to find ways to do that without, getting too deep in the water, being able to float a little bit.
Jenny just said without drowning.
Without drowning.
I've always got ideas.
Well, you guys had just recently sent us some duck eggs and stuff, and I sent a little text message to Mike thanking him for the eggs and stuff, and he's like, those eggs are potentially fertile as well. And all of a sudden it just unleashed because we just got done doing a little test batches hatching some chicken eggs, and all of a sudden I started thinking like, oh boy, ducks, and I immediately drop it to my wife and stuff, and so it's like now I think it'd be really cool to do it, but I'm trying not to pull a mic here and just jump on off the dock right away and.
Yep. He's not even testing the waters. He's just like.
I was thinking it'd be kind of cool, especially like if we built up a flock and envisioning ourselves several years down the road, and all of a sudden we end up really liking doing ducks, and here they are. Our whole flock has been all a gift from you guys. I just think that'd be something pretty neat at the same time. But of course, this morning I did have to break in and try out the eggs to make sure it's worth the time and the investment, and definitely enjoyed it. I'm amazed on how large those eggs are. They're just
like how the gap we had to tape the carton shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh yeah, and the one thing I'll say about ducks is if you do consider raising any, whether they're ours or not, they're very messy and nasty.
Messy. Water ends up everywhere.
We had absolutely no problem when we had 5 or 6 ducks, but when we went up to 10 ducks, we noticed that it's
messy.
Hey, Eric, if I may, real quick, I noticed somebody joined the chat here just a couple minutes ago, and I think you just won a contest and even have a video of it. Do you want to talk about that for a quick second?
I won a contest?
Yeah.
Yeah, Off-Grid Doug and Stacy just they had a contest for a pickaroon. And if you're not familiar with actually I got it right here. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's a tool.
Only you would have the firewood tools right there at the computer with you.
This is basically like a firewood tool that allows you so you don't have to bend down quite as much. And I've always been very skeptical of them because I've always thought of them as almost like when you're trying to hold a car battery, and you can hold it up close to your body here, but as soon as you try holding that out, now that weight is pretty intensified. So this gives me an opportunity to give this tool a try because I've always wanted to. I've always heard a lot of people talk really highly about them. So this is actually an Axaroon here that I ended up getting. Doug, I think, pulled a few extra strings here. And the nice part about this is it's got this little axe on here. And if you've ever split like an American elm or something like that, it's just really stringy. Or when we go out and cut a lot of wood in our area, it's all along farm fields. So those trees tend to get twisted. And then when it comes time to split, I mean, I've used to split by hand, and I cannot tell you how many hours I have spent doing that. And having this little tool like that kind of gives you the ability to kind of break those little splits open. So that's my project for this weekend. I got a truckload already loaded up of wood. I'm going to go out and put this thing to use, and hopefully bring the camera along and share the experience a little bit. I do want to really give it a test run though, and because I'm guessing there's going to be, I kind of have a workflow when I go out and do processing wood, and now I got to figure out how to set this down in a place so I'm not constantly searching for it or spending more time chasing the tool down instead of just bending down to pick up the log. So I'm guessing there's going to be a little time in there to kind of, I guess, figure out how to work it into the workflow where it makes sense. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about the Off-Grid. Doug and Stacy seem to do a lot of competitions over there, and I got lucky in winning the one that I really wanted to win. So
yeah, and I think, was that Uncle Haas that just said in the chat, he goes, how fitting you won it. If it wasn't Uncle Haas, I'm sorry, whoever did say that, but
yeah,
I got
Firewood King got a new firewood tool.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And Doug and Stacy have always been fantastic to us.
Oh yes.
I don't know if you know, Eric, but Jenny's actually been down there with our oldest daughter. And
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was awesome.
that was like when we had just kind of started our YouTube channel.
It was
and
the week after the homesteading conference last year
Right.
in April. I went to Missouri to go see CJ.
we met them.
And they're like, hey, stop by.
And Doug's like, hey, if you're going to Missouri, stop by. So we did. Felt kind of weird having my wife and daughter stop by. I mean, we've been watching the YouTube channel, but my wife and daughter stopped by someplace that I had no idea, and I wasn't with them. It was kind of weird for me, but obviously they're Doug and Stacy, and they're fantastic people.
Yeah, we like them. We like them a lot. Definitely a great channel. We always wanted to make it down there. There's all those conferences. You guys went to that one last year, the Appalachian one, and there's another one here, that American Homesteaders one. Amy Farewell, I think is her name, doing. But they're always so far away. Like, we want to get down and see some of these people, and we're hoping hoping there'll be one a little bit more up Midwest, or we just need to save up some gas money and get on the road one of these conferences and make it.
I tell you what, you get a conference started up there, and Jenny and I will come.
Yep.
I would imagine that's a lot of work, pulling her out and trying to do all the coordination.
I know there's some side talk with a couple people about possibly getting a small something started in Michigan, or maybe not small, but something started in Michigan.
Yeah.
Which is still a haul for you.
Yeah, well, just have them put it somewhere in the middle, so either we can swoop down Michigan or go up around Lake Michigan and make it over there.
I haven't made that trip up north around the UP and Wisconsin. I've wanted to make that trip for a really long time and haven't done it. That's
the quicker trick for us to get into Michigan, that's for sure. We have a neighbor, he's going to school for agriculture type stuff, and he's going somewhere over there in Michigan, so he's always got to drive up and around that peak, and it's been really a fun thing to talk to him about some of that stuff and getting an idea of the stuff that they're teaching kind of the up and coming farmers. You know, I guess it wasn't ever really an education type career, but stuff has changed so much in the way they do tractors nowadays, and basically what he does for a living and is going to school for is he goes around and does soil samples around all the fields, and then they are able to plug that data into the GPS of the tractor, and then they can adjust their soil fertilization or plant rates depending on the conditions of that soil. And man, stuff has changed so much in that industry. Sorry, I don't mean to get too sidetracked here, but
no, you're fine. I was just gonna say a couple things. I noticed Doug said they're gonna be doing one in St. Louis or something.
Yep.
Is that a conference he's talking about?
Well, I know that they're going to the Baker Creek.
Oh, the Baker Creek. Okay, yep.
Beyond that, I don't know.
And then I see another one of our
friends. She's a friend.
Well, no, I was gonna say one of our old friends, but I didn't mean like she's old. I meant like our old friends. Michigan Snow Pony is here. Hey, Renee, thanks for dropping by. We really appreciate that.
He's so bad with words.
I am awful with words. Doug says yep, so that must be the Baker Creek.
Yep, the Baker Creek.
Okay, so
and that's the day. Correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but isn't that May 7th? So that's the day after the.
Nope, they're going to do a homesteading conference.
2019. I can't think that far ahead.
Well, thank you, Doug. That is good amount of warning there. That's not no last minute stuff right there.
No.
All right.
I'm going to try. Good. I want to go back.
So I think Eric, we talked about the other night that you believe you're like in zone 3 something.
I think we're in 3B, I believe is what we are.
And we're in no snow pony, not old as dirt. I'm looking at the chat. Sorry. And we're in 5B, I'm pretty sure. Have you started planting anything?
Only our root crops. We got onions and potatoes. We pushed ourselves a little bit. I'm hearing an echo. I don't know if it's me here.
We don't hear the echo on this side.
Okay. See what else? We did put a little bit of asparagus in here, or asparagus crowns, all mostly root crops right now. Usually we can't plant till the very last weekend of May for most stuff. I'm hoping this year, I mean, it's been a little bit of a warmer year. We might gamble a little bit on a couple crops and try to push them in a little bit earlier. we'll see. And then we do have some stuff similar to what you guys have done with seed starters and getting those things going here on the inside. So
yeah, you just in fact you just did a vlog the other day of some of the seed starts that you have going, and we are hoping to get potatoes and onions in the ground this weekend. I feel like I'm really far behind on that. And maybe carrots too, because I think carrots could handle a little cold if it happened.
yeah.
I had hoped to start those a lot earlier this year, kind of as an experiment. But Jenny and I just last night cut up a whole bunch of potatoes, and there's got to be hundreds.
There's a lot of potatoes, and it's not even all of them. We're going to experiment with some of them and just plant them whole. I mean, they've all sprouted. They're last year's harvest, but we're just going to plant them whole. And there's probably like another 50 of those. Right.
So we're going big, and we're going to do that. We're going to do that kind of in a row crop situation.
Yeah, potatoes are a good item. You can really use them for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Haas just said it looks like I'm planting a half-mile worth of taters and onions.
Pretty much.
I got 2 big rows dug up out there, and we'll see how that goes. That might become our potato hill because it's a pretty gravelly area up there.
Yeah, it's very rocky.
We'll see how it goes, and then I don't know. That usually around here it's the same thing. They say Memorial Day weekend or so to plant, but we've been planting way earlier.
We're too impatient for that.
Yeah, so like the 2 years, right? 2 planting years out here so far. May like 10th we were planting the first year. Yeah.
And the second year it was Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah. I mean, we're not like those folks down in Missouri and Oklahoma planting in
January.
Old Daniel down there in Oklahoma.
Danny and Wanda too, man. Oh man, January and February, watching them plant stuff was just it just made me go stir crazy here.
And they just said in the chat they're harvesting potatoes, green beans, English peas, and carrots. How are you harvesting stuff? It's not even in the ground yet.
I meant to bring up Danny and Wanda too, because yes, we love Danny and Wanda.
Oh yes.
But it's really aggravating seeing them harvest stuff when we haven't even planted anything. But also, I wanted to bring up, and I forgot to tell you, this is one of those things I was trying to remember.
Oh, he does this all the time.
I was trying to remember, come on, Jenny, what is it I'm thinking of? And she couldn't remember either. But
yeah, because I know what he's thinking.
I believe you're doing some Danny corn this year.
Oh.
Yeah, I am. That's one thing I've been debating whether to try to push in a little bit early, because I don't remember what Danny corn was. It was like 100 and some day variety. And that's pushing a little bit for our area, but field corn, I think a lot of times if you can get the big growth and the pollination to happen, you can, a lot of it is just getting it to dry, and you can leave that out there. I mean, there's a lot of corn still sitting out in our fields out here. Last year was such a bumper crop year of corn that a lot of people just haven't even pulled corn out yet. So
that's crazy.
I'm really hoping this does well, because we'd like to actually use that for potentially doing like some cornmeal. And we've been starting to mix up chicken feed over this last year, and would like to try. I mean, there's really pretty basic stuff in there. There's a lot of different grains, corn, and different stuff like that. And we're hoping to do a bunch of sunflowers this year. And I don't think we're going to have enough Danny corn to be able to really put a dent in that this year, but we can definitely set seeds aside for the following year for growing that crop, I guess, or growing our seed bank for that.
Right.
So that should be pretty fun. Are you guys giving that a try this year as well, or?
Well, it's funny you bring that up. Yes. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna give the Danny corn a shot too. And I forget how many came in that package. I want to say 100. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
I think there were 100 baggies or something like that. So I bought two of the bags.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we are. We're going to try that. And I keep listening to Danny on his videos talking about lots of nitrogen, lots of nitrogen, lots of nitrogen. So we've got lots of horse poo, and I can make
never-ending supply.
Can make a lot of compost tea with that, and I'm going to give that a shot. But we're also the Indian corn that I didn't have great success with last year, that I had kind of really looked forward to being a part of the animal feed, kind of like what you're talking about. We're going to try that again on the other side of the property as well, but I'm going to do a lot better job of watering it, giving it some food. I'm going to try to pay more attention to it, and not in competition with the Danny corn, but that's just like 2 of the 4 corns we're going to try.
Yeah.
We also want to do
Make
corn and sweet corn.
Just make sure you separate them if you want to use the seeds next year, because they can cross-pollinate. That's one thing that we're struggling with a little bit this year, is trying to figure out where we're going to separate, because we want to do popcorn this year. We always do sweet corn, and then we really want to do Danny corn. So we got to make sure they're, you know, a distance apart from each other so they're not cross-pollinating, if we want to utilize those seeds the following year and have the same crop, I guess.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm struggling with, and I believe the first time I saw this was it on Tangi's channel? The separating?
It might have been.
I believe it was
Tangi.
I believe it was Tangi the Caver's
They have
wife.
a smaller lot, and they wanted to do a couple different.
And they grew sunflowers in between their 2 types of corn. As a
That's kind of an interesting idea.
So definitely my 2 types of Indian corn are going to be about 800 foot apart from each other on separate sides of the property with a hill in the middle. So the Danny corn and the Indian corn are separated like that pretty good. But now I got to find a spot to do some sweet corn, and we want to do some popcorn again. We haven't decided on the kind of popcorn though.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, what did we decide?
The Cherokee popcorn.
Oh, we're trying a whole new brand of popcorn. Okay. Because we grew a bunch of Class Gem last year, and we haven't had great successes using it as popcorn.
And we grew strawberry popcorn, but it's so small and it requires so much.
But
so
but I believe the strawberry popcorn lives up to expectations.
It does.
It pops and it's great.
It's just really little.
Yeah. So we're gonna try that. In fact, somebody sent us a popcorn popper, and I think we have failed to acknowledge that whatsoever, and
I think so.
And we feel really bad about that. So if you're watching this, there's going to be a popcorn video coming out doing some comparing using the popcorn popper that you sent.
Yes.
So anyways, that's that. But
I did want to touch Michigan Snow Pony asked if we're doing hay, and yes, we are going to do hay. So we're going to, where we're putting the pigs is kind of in the hayfield, but we're going to mow that before we move the pigs around or anything like that. And then we are going to hopefully get the grass mix that we did for the horse. We're hopefully going to be mowing that down for the first time soon. It's actually,
that's growing like crazy out there.
Yeah, it's really, really tall.
Both hayfields are,
They
both
are.
hay sections.
We just have this unwanted lake in the middle of our hayfield right now.
We've had a lot of rain, and we got this lake out there in the hayfield that is actually, now that it's drying up, the hayfield goes like this where the pond was.
Sinks down.
It was pretty deep out there for a while.
Yeah.
You guys had a lot of rain too, Eric? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been too bad. Last year was really a tough year. A lot of the farmers around us do hay. And of course, you need to be able to cut and then let that dry before you get it baled up. And that was always the biggest struggle, is trying to find that window, because it seemed like every couple days it would start raining. Just there's never quite a big enough block, so it really had set a lot of people back. So
you know, that's obviously the people who've been farming around here know a lot more than I do. So the first year I struggled with that window that you're talking about. And then I don't have a crimper or anything, so the clover and alfalfa and grass mix hayfield that we have, it takes a long time to dry. Yeah. And
it gets tangled up really easily.
It can, yeah, especially if you cut it when it's still wet down at the base. It's just awful. But
it's a mess.
So there was more than once that we picked it up off the field and just laid it in the barn to dry it happened these last 2 years.
Yeah.
And because the wind kicks in from the bottom of the barn and then comes up through the floors, and it actually
there's spaces between the boards since it's so old.
And it really helps dry it out pretty good.
It does, yeah.
I mean, you gotta get in there and turn it and stuff. But so then last year on one of our hay cuttings, so I would run out there and pick it up because the forecast said for rain. Well, I would drive around and see that's when farmers were cutting their hay. I was like, what? So I would hurry and get my hay picked up, or we would, and it wouldn't rain. Like, what? All right.
Michigan is so bad with
so then on like the second cut last year, I think it was sitting out there. There was rain in the forecast. There's farmers everywhere cutting their hay. I'm like, well, I think it needs one more day of drying.
It was
We'll leave it.
Third cut.
It was a third cut. We'll leave it. We'll let it dry for one more day. Well,
It's not gonna rain.
it rained for like 3 days.
Do you guys have a baler, or do you guys put loose hay up?
What's that? What was that?
Do you guys have a baler, or do you guys put the hay up loose?
Well, the first year, the baler's half broke. One of the knotters doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't tie a knot real good. And,
one every 5 bales it ties.
Right. And so the first year, Jenny's grandfather was like, well, why don't you guys just pick it up loose and store it in the hay loose? I mean, you're not transporting it. It's going to go from right there in the barn to the animals.
Underneath, yeah.
And we did. And we were actually really happy with that. It made a huge wall of hay.
Made a huge pile. And the kids love climbing up there and jumping down and everything like that. But it took us 8 hours to move that hay from the field to the barn, and then from outside the barn to inside the barn. And then on one of the cuttings last year, it was going to rain.
And so we picked it up and put it in the barn to finish drying real quick, and it never rained. And but the other cuttings or 2 cuttings, whatever that was, we used the baler twice.
Yeah.
And Jenny would drive the tractor, and I was just walking after it was all, in a row, and the baler was picking it up. And every time it got done with the bale, I would finish tying the one side and let it kick off.
Yeah, that was right after my surgery.
That was right after your surgery. Now you do a lot of hay, right?
We don't cut any. We have a neighbor that does all. We don't have a tractor yet. That's something that we're looking to do. We really want to get something decent. We're looking for something over 30 horse, so I can still haul skid logs around, stuff like that, but also want to be able to do some hay and stuff. And we're really trying to do that stuff without going into any debt. So it's just a slow process of rounding up enough money. And I think once we get to that point, that will open up a lot of doors for us. We've really tinkered with the idea of doing cattle. There's just a lot of stuff, but we don't want to be reliant on someone else to be able to provide the hay and some of that. Even though we have a neighbor right down the road, I'd have no problem buying it from, but maybe it's just my stubbornness or something. But I'd like to, when we jump to that point, I'd like to be able to kind of fit that full cycle there. So
I completely understand. I'm on board with you, because it's hard to feel self-reliant when you're running all the time to go buy hay. That's why I was pretty confident on, as soon as we moved in here, we planted about 2 acres of that mix.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, that back stretch is maybe 2 acres.
Yeah.
Or wait, all the way down is 2 acres, I think. So maybe only 1.5 acres.
Yeah. Because we didn't go all the
way. And we ran out of hay this year, but I lost one of the harvests, all the rain and stuff too. So we'll kind of see where that all settles out this year. But
thankfully, we do have a farmer that's close by. Well, actually, he's the farmer that farms the fields around us. So he just delivers big round bales for us to feed to the goats. So that is nice. And
if you ask me, he charges a pretty cheap price.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Hay's been down quite a bit. Hay's been down quite a bit in our area. I think the first year or two we moved in here, we had a massive overtake on our garden with weeds, and we were desperate trying to find some solution, and we were looking for round bales. And I don't remember what it was, but it was really a dry year, and it was just astronomical what they were going for at that time. But I know the last couple of years it's been a pretty wet year, or the hay cutting's been pretty decent, at least in our area.
Hey, Eric, I got one more thing to say about, we were talking about planting potatoes. You talked about getting a tractor and stuff, and the hay and all that. I want to say that one thing I'm really excited about, and then our buddy Peoria dude is in the room just yelling about pigs. I encourage everybody to go check out Peoria dude's channel. He started doing a weekly Homestead channel review. I encourage everybody to go check that out. But I'm really excited. I just ordered a 3-point hiller. So yeah, and so I see you shaking your head, so you must know what I'm talking about. So you pull it behind the tractor, and it makes a row for you. And I'm really excited to try that.
Yeah.
It should be here tomorrow.
Really? Where did you end up picking up from? Like a local place, or did you find something online, or?
Well, I couldn't find one local anywhere.
We even
And
tried
then-
to find the parts to make one, and
Yeah.
we couldn't find anything there either.
If I was a hair more resourceful and I knew how to weld and even could slightly do some straight lines, I could have probably built one. But the one I just ordered is from
Creative Crafts.
Craftworks Project.
Yeah, I'll look that up while you talk about it.
and with shipping and everything, because I was looking at ordering one online, and then prices weren't awful because there was nothing local, and like I could order one from Rural King and I could order one from Northern Tool and all this and that, but the shipping would just kill the deal for me. So this what is it?
Cottage Craft Works.
Cottage Craft Works, or Cottage Craft Work, I think. Is there an S? Anyways, they had one relatively inexpensive, and
Yes, there's an S.
and shipping was extremely inexpensive, and so I figured I'll give it a shot and see. I hope it's not cheap.
We'll see.
But
I saw Daniel down at Arms Family Homestead. He was using one of those the other day. What was he putting in? He was putting beans in, I think, and he was.
okay.
He had one of those. He was dragging back behind there. Pretty slick little deal. I think that'd work really good for watermelons and pumpkins and stuff like that. That trying to get up there. I know someone asked in the chat. I can't remember who it was. I apologize. Someone asked if I hunted, and yeah, definitely do.
Yeah, you're a pretty big deer hunter, aren't you?
Yeah, I like deer hunting. It's not really. I like the effort that you put in and the return on investment for meat. But I think my real passion is duck hunting, pheasant hunting. I've never turkey hunted. That's something I've really thought about. Our population in our area is starting to return. We have a lot of hens in our area, but not a lot of toms. See what other, goose hunting, obviously that kind of goes with the duck hunting stuff. Yeah, I just do a bunch of different hunting, usually in the fall time. I'm hoping this fall I can get a GoPro and maybe capture some of that. I know some people get a little squirmish in some of that stuff. I don't know if I will capture a ton of it, but I'd like to capture some of the experience, the moment out there. Because half time, even if you get out there and you're out duck hunting and you don't even have a decent hunt, it's beautiful, it's quiet, it's just something so special to take in. I don't know.
We talked last year about like taking turns going out hunting, gun hunting. He's the only one with a bow right now. And I'm okay with the bow. Nothing special. This lady here, if you watched our 30 random facts, used to shoot competition archery. Yeah, that was fun. I love shooting stuff. It doesn't matter what I'm using. So we talked about taking turns going gun hunting, but it was always him that would go out there. And the kids would ask him, "Mom, are you gonna go out there?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not," because either he wasn't home or was still sleeping in or something on the weekend, and that's when the deer would be out there. And I'm like, I can't go out there. But yeah, every time he comes in, I'm like, "Did you enjoy your quiet?" Okay, well, here's what the kids did.
In fact, I think tomorrow I'll head out a little earlier.
Not cool.
What time do we go to bed again? I'll be back.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll be back a couple minutes before that. Well, actually, that time of year, though, you're coming in when it's dark and it's dinner time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, hey,
daylight savings time and.
Oh, yeah. This isn't a rant, but man, I just wish they'd do away with daylight savings, to tell you the truth. But
It always messes me up.
yeah, it seems like more of a headache than anything. But and I know there's some people with some strong opinions about that, so I'm not really saying nothing. I'm just saying what I think. My sister is one who has some very strong opinions about daylight savings.
Yeah, she does. Bumblebee Junction says he loves the fear.
The fear look in me. Yep. Bumblebee Junction, another great channel. In fact, I was just talking with Mark last night. We were IMing each other, but so
we got 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh, Eric, it's 9:45 already.
I guess.
Well, let's make Peoria Doodle happy. Are you doing pigs this year?
We are. We haven't quite narrowed it down yet what variety that we're doing, but we are. We have a little bit of figuring out to do. We just know that we're going to push things back a little bit later this year. Things back a little bit later in the fall time when it comes time to handle some of the butchering and some of that stuff. Last year was a pretty warm year, so we got tied down to a particular weekend because there's several families that get involved in this that we all kind of raise pigs together, and then in the fall time we try to get everything lined up and we go through and do all the butchering ourselves. And sometimes it's a little bit of a balancing act trying to make something happen. And so what we're trying to do is push it back a little bit later this year, just so we have a little bit cooler weather. It was a little warmer than we liked, but everything turned out just fine. But I know you guys are definitely up in the pig game here this year. You guys are doing what, 10 pigs? Have you guys narrowed down the variety at all, or that you're gonna do?
Yep, I think things are set in stone, and a lot of the getting set in stone. Man, when I put out that one video, the amount of subscribers and viewers that were sending us messages and stuff for ideas and stuff was really helpful.
Yeah,
and
trying to help us locate some pigs.
One guy,
we were struggling.
One guy here in Michigan got a hold of me, Pete. Thank you very much. He had Herefords, which is one of the ones we did last year, and we're extremely happy with that. But I think, as a lot of people know, we're doing an experiment this year. We're going to do 4 different breeds of pigs. Between Jenny and myself, we're going to keep 2 pigs. And then we got other family members that are getting pigs. And so we're going to end up having 4 of us kind of swapping. We're calling it the pork chop swap. And we're going to be testing to see what kind of pig we want to settle on and probably start raising for ourselves the following year. So we've got the first one is a 2/3 old spots. Go ahead, say the whole name.
Oh, no. Nope.
Yeah,
I don't even, it starts with a G. That's as good as I got. They're the Dalmatian looking pigs.
So we're getting 4 that are 2/3 old spot, 1/3 Berkshire.
Yes.
I don't know why, but I think I'm going to love that. I think I'm going to love the meat from that. And I don't know anything about anything. And then we're also going to get, I've been in contact with Mark at Baker Green Acre. Yep. Baker's Green Acres, which is also where Michigan Snow Pony originally got hers. Her Magnalitzas.
Those are the racing stripe pigs.
Yeah, when they're piglets, they have the right racing stripes.
They have nicknames because I can't pronounce what they are.
And that meat, in fact, I encourage you to go look at his website because they sell the meat right off their website. Baker's Green Acres, bakersgreenacre.com.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a really fat meat, but the meat is like red and marbleized and almost like beef. And it is, I haven't had any yet, but supposedly fantastic. So we're getting 2 of those.
Grizzly Groundswell is in here. He said you will love them.
Oh yeah, okay. And I meant to say that the 2/3 old spot and the 1/3 Berkshire. You see Grizzly Groundswell Chad T. Everson in the chat. His channel, you can go look at all the videos. He's got daily videos of the pigs, I think. But that's where we're getting those 4 from. And then Mark at Baker's Green Acres, we're getting the 2 Magnalitzas. And then on Facebook, Hidden Creek Farm. Yep. Hidden Creek Farm, we're going to be getting 2 Tamsworth pigs. And then I'm drawing a complete blank. We're getting 2 red wattles from another place.
I don't even have a clue. I am losing track.
And those red wattles aren't going to be until just a little bit later in June. Yep. That's why I'm not too focused. All the other pigs, I think we're getting right in May.
In May. Just trying to narrow down exactly what day. The old spots we're getting the weekend after the conference.
Mother's Day.
Piggies.
So that's our plan, and it'll be interesting. I'm really curious how that pork chop swap turns out.
So I guess the people that are going in on this with you here, did you go out and I mean, are these people you guys know, or are these you just had put something out and trying to sell the pigs or try to get something arranged for later in the year?
Well, so 4 pigs, 4, right? Family and stuff. Jenny and I are going to keep 2 pigs, 2 different breed in our freezer. Jenny's brother is getting 1 pig from us, and that's going to be a different breed. And then we've gotten into this thing where we give our parents each half a pig each year.
Yep, we raise it out, and then they get half and we get half.
Oh, they each get half.
Yeah, your parents get half and my parents get
right.
half.
So that's 4 pigs, and that's 4 breeds. So we got a for sure pork chop swap happening there. The 5th one is the local farmer here that we've talked about a couple times. We've discussed with him. He does cows, so a beef pork swap. But either way, he's getting a pig, whether he wants to end up doing that or not. And then the other 5.
No, one of them is being split between my sister and my best friend.
Oh yeah.
And then the rest are.
And then I have 4 coworkers and I got more. You would not believe the amount of people that completely understand that I have no idea what I'm doing, but they are banging down my door asking me to raise them some pigs.
Yep.
But I had to limit it to 4 coworkers this year.
Yeah, we had like this huge list going, and then we talked about like, what is our comfort zone? At what point do we say, no, we can't raise a pig for you this year? And it's like, I think 10 is the absolute max, and that's what we were stuck at.
And that's what, we flirted with going to 11 and 12.
At one point he's like, I wouldn't mind one more. I'm like, no, 10 was the cutoff. We have to cut off.
So, I mean, I think each coworker I asked said yes in a heartbeat. In fact, a couple of them were begging me last year to do pigs for them this year. It doesn't seem to be a problem finding people to want to buy a pig. Or put a pig in the freezer, I guess.
No. People want pig.
They do.
And it's good.
And then like a lot of people say that the money really is being made and actually raising it out and then selling the meat itself, not like,
the pig the way that we are.
Yeah. I mean, you can get like a finished pig in the fall time at an auction for, I mean, hardly anything. It's amazing. You guys, how has your supply been? Have you guys plowed through most of your pork this year or from last year? Or, doing pretty decent.
It's pretty good stuff.
It's hard not to. Our first year, we got a pig.
We had 1 pig.
1 pig.
Yep.
And I mean, it was gone. Just like we had bacon like 2 or 3 times a week. It was really, really bad. We did not stretch that out at all. We're doing better this time, but I think part of what helps that is the Hereford that we had processed. The hams we had cut in half, and they're still 10 pounds. So 1 ham is like 3 meals for us. So that does kind of help stretch it out a little bit. But pork chops are flying through. Bacon's flying through.
Those smoked pork chops that we got off that Hereford.
You said it right.
I said it. I don't say it. What do I say?
He always says smoked pork.
Smoked pork. Smoked pork.
Like every time.
And I agree with Michigan Snow Pony. Raising feeder pigs is the next easiest livestock to raising chickens.
They are really easy to raise.
Mainly because they are temporary and being omnivores and all that. But they go through some water.
Oh, yeah, especially if the bucket's not attached to the panel. As soon as you fill it, they flip it over, and then you stand there screaming at the pig because you just filled their bucket. Yeah.
We had trouble getting those pigs trained on the watering nipples last year. That will not be a problem this year. I promise. Well, no, I'm not going to promise. Those pigs will be on watering nipples next
year. Our first year, they were on the watering nipples, and that really does make a big difference. I mean, you want to train them on those. That is a time saver right there.
Yeah, that's what we do. We do a 55-gallon drum, and we usually have about 3 of them out there, and that lasts us about a week. We try to clean it up more often than that, but if we had to, usually it holds them over for a week for the 3 that we usually do.
Nothing we did last year. We get those. I mean, I was out there. So was Jenny, slapping honey on them.
Peanut butter. They did not care.
The pigs the first year, no problem. We put a nipple in there, they were drinking, no problem.
They used them to scratch on. And we're like, it's not a scratching post. You're supposed to drink out of that.
Oh well.
Yeah.
But
all right.
we do still. We're we're still like trying to figure out if we can get some bulk deals on feed.
Yep.
And how much in advance we need to stock up on that. I mean, 10 pigs is quite a bit.
Do you guys have silos on your property?
No, there's some silo pads over there where there used to be a silo.
Yeah,
but,
they took them down not too long before we moved in.
yeah, I don't think it was very long before we moved in. But I have been, if we were going to do like pigs seriously in the future, I would have to get something, I think.
Now would be the time if you could buy what you're going to do for feed in bulk right now, especially with corn prices the way they are, still being relatively low. I mean, if you had a place to store a lot of that, that's what we usually have a farmer. We've always done a grain-based type feed here. You guys have kind of really inspired us to start looking at a little bit more of the grazing side of stuff, but we've always done like the neighbor, or basically our neighbor or farmer grows the corn, so we know what's gone into that corn. And then last year he didn't end up doing any corn, and ended up doing putting down some hay fields and cover crop of oats and stuff. So our corn this year isn't there, so we're gonna have to go out and buy some corn from a different farmer. We've been doing some shopping around on prices and stuff, but if we didn't have him, I think it'd be a little bit more difficult, because you either need like a gravity box or, you know, green bin or whatever to be able to store enough, or have it in silos. And I don't think that's something that's talked about on a lot of these, like the homesteading type channels. It's something that we've been really thinking about, is trying to figure out a way to be able to store that type of stuff. I don't think a corn crib would work that well for us. It's something I've looked into a little bit, but I've always been a little, we get so many field mice and stuff in our area that I have a feeling that and the chipmunks would make that disappear pretty quick. But if you had that ability to be able to buy in bulk right now, would be a really good idea to stock up. Obviously there's money involved in it, but I think corn prices are pretty low.
Right. Is that primarily what you feed, is corn?
We do corn and
or?
oats, and then we take it down to a mill, and they do they blend in like a mineral mix type stuff. And I've heard some talk about whether that needs to be put in there if they do grazing at all, because they get a lot of like iron and stuff from the soil. But I personally haven't tested, and it's like you go out and you look on some of these forums, and one tells you one thing and the other one tells you the opposite. So I always have a hard time knowing what to believe until kind of putting it to the test here. So
yeah, didn't you do a soil test last year, and you did 2 different kinds of soil tests, and at the same location? I forget the details, but you got like different.
Yeah, we did a store-bought test kit, and then we sent one off to like a professional lab kit. And in the end, the store-bought kits are kind of nice for keeping an eye on your nitrogen and different stuff. And we got very, very different numbers. But the way the store-bought kit worked is you basically put your soil in this water solution, you shook it up, and then they say wait anywhere from a half hour to 24 hours. So of course I wanted to know right away, so I waited for like 30 minutes exactly and then did the test. Well, then we got the lab result back, and it was so different, and I wanted so badly to believe all it was the lab did something wrong. And they assured me everything's calibrated and everything. So then I had to go back to the store-bought one, and they kind of said, well, you probably should let it sit a little bit longer. So I reran the test again and let it sit for the 24 hours. And then I got a lot closer results on both tests on that. However, that sending a kit off to a lab, I think there's a lot of benefits to it. They give you a lot more information, such as like just the organic matter that's in your soil versus like the store-bought kits. Usually they kind of test on the nitrogen, phosphorus, and like potash or whatever you want to call it. So you get a lot more information with that. So that's another thing we're going to run again this year here before we put most of our other stuff in. And then we also want to do some testing here, because we've been, I want to say we've been doing a trial back to Eden garden method here, but it hasn't really been a trial. It's been more of a lack that we just can't get wood chips in our area. I mean, most stuff is just open fields around here, so no one's going to pay someone to drop a tree. And there's usually someone like myself that someone wants a tree removed and there's not a building that it could potentially fall on, I'll be over there in a heartbeat. So, so trying to get chips, I think we're going to end up having to probably end up paying to have like a semi-load or something dropped off at some point. I actually had talked to one of our neighbors. I was down there cutting, and I was like, well, where did you get all these wood chips? And they said they had some semi truck come out and drop off like a truckload for $200 or something. So right now we've been chipping stuff up with our chipper, but it kind of feels like trying to wash a gymnasium floor at times with a toothbrush. So
oh, okay, yeah, I had that.
Brushing your teeth while eating Oreos kind of thing.
Yeah, you actually bring up a good point about that, because I've actually told Jenny before, I wonder if we just got a wood chipper, if we could. But you're right, that would take a whole lot of wood chipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you went up and got a nicer, more commercial grade one, it would really make life. But the difference between the ones that you get at like your local Fleet Farm or Farm and Fleet or whatever, and more of the commercial type grades, the price jumps up tremendously. You know, a couple $100 for something versus, you know, several thousand. It's a little harder to justify the cost. So the way I'm justifying it right now is I'd like to just save that money for the tractor, and then I'll buy an attachment for the tractor that will take care of that.
There you go. I love that kind of thinking. I love it. I know Doug and Stacy just had a semi bring in some wood chips, and then they had to have a wrecker come get the semi. Yes. Go watch that video. That was this week. I'm pretty sure that was this week.
Yeah, Peoria dude just said that too.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
We had a neighbor with a very similar situation. One of our neighbors drives semi for a living, and he was backing in one winter and cut the corner just a little too tight and dropped his truck down into the snowbank a little bit. And he was trying to move the tandem or the back axle, trying to get adjusted so he'd get out of there. And he was sweating it. He was just, he's like, I can't afford to have a wrecker come out. My boss is going to kill me. And we ended up having, because he had called the farmer as well, I believe, or they had someone else with a bigger tractor come out, it sounded like. And luckily in our neighbor situation, the other neighbor that had the big tractor came down and ended up getting him pulled out. That was a fun, adventurous night in the middle of a cold winter storm. Yeah.
I watched that video of Doug and Stacy's, the footage they got of that semi coming in, and pretty impressive. I mean, I know it was, I believe it was sped up time or whatever, all that, but still pretty impressive. And Doug was nothing but praise for that guy. He just got into one little weird spot and couldn't get out. And, but I think I've heard you talk about before that also that you guys are probably going to stick with row gardening. Or however you want to say that. I think I heard you say that in a video, and I actually kind of feel the same way. We're currently trying this year what I believe is called the what?
Oh, I don't know.
Like Ruth Stout method. Is that the correct name? But we're taking all of our barn clean out and we're dumping it on our garden to try and suppress the weeds. We are done with weeds. We don't want nothing to do with it. And as everybody, well, I don't know if everybody knows, we don't use any chemicals. We don't even use any organic sprays of any kind or nothing.
Pulling weeds by hand.
And so we're playing with that, but I don't know. I kind of feel like we'll end up one day just going back to dealing with it.
We don't do any sprays at all. What we learned the very first year out here is we've spaced our stuff out where we can run a tiller up and down the rows, and then a lot of your picking is just right by the plants. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, where we are, you know, when we're in farm country. So like I watch some homesteading channels, and there's a lot of different approaches to different stuff, and then I kind of got the stuff that's going on in our area, and I get torn on which way to go. So we try to find some kind of like middle of the ground type stuff. We're not, I mean, obviously we're not going towards like a GMO type, go out spray type setup. But some of the, I guess we don't get wrapped up in some of the stuff. The row gardening stuff seems to be working pretty well for us. And I think the direction we'd like to go, because I think our garden's like 1,200 square feet right now, and we're looking to continue to expand that. And it seems to get, the bigger you get, the harder it gets to be able to control a lot of that stuff, and the more stuff you need to get brought in. So it's like, I mean, I had brought in a couple of truckloads, or just normal 8-foot pickup truck bed loads of wood chips, and it's like it hardly put a dent in our garden, you know.
Right. I like Deep South Homestead's comment here. They say they're sticking with row gardening, but they're playing with other kinds of gardening, like container gardening and the hugelkultur and stuff. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Wow. But I just watched a video with JRC Homestead, right? That's the name of it?
I think so.
I think so. JRC. I know it is JRC. But she had a bunch of different types of container planting with, I want to say, like automatic watering to a degree. And I found all that really interesting too, which is something I'm looking at doing with all my peppers this year, is separating them in containers around the property.
Oh yeah, that I knew.
And your guys' pepper collection last year was just, man, it's just fantastic. All the varieties you had. There was a lot of them I never even heard of. You guys got really.
We hadn't heard of either.
I went a little bonkers on Baker's Creek.
They got some good stuff over there too. We're trying out pepperoncinis this year. I'm excited about that. I just love pepperoncinis. The thing is, I got to try to figure out how to pickle those. I was heckling Sutton Days a little bit about that, because I saw she had put this picture on Instagram with the pickling book and stuff. So I was kind of bugging her. I was like, oh, is there any pepperoncini pickling recipes in there? And she had sent me a link to a couple of different ones or whatever. So I'm hoping to give that a go. That'll be a little bit of a learning curve to try out this year. Do you guys got any, like, we usually like to experiment and try at least a couple different things each year. Are there any things that you guys are trying this year new that you're excited about? I know you guys are always trying new things. I mean, Mike's here, so.
The experimenting.
He has like the science corner over there, and in the cupboard in the closet now. He's like, "Hey, can I have a shelf for my?" I'm like, "Yeah, just keep it away from my stuff."
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. So I was like actually struggling to think of something, but fermenting is something I've started playing with. I know that's not really, well, kind of, I guess, but I've been making some sauerkraut lately, and I'm not aging it super long like a lot of people, and like I want to make a batch and just let it sit. But the kids are loving it.
That's all that closet smells like anymore. And that's the closet where I have like extra sheets and stuff. I'm going to go to bed with clean sheets on smelling sauerkraut.
but I'm finding the kids really like it. The kids and myself really like it around 2 to 3 weeks or so.
Well, you also fermented peppers from our garden and made your own hot sauce.
I did. I did that last fall, and I let those. Well, they fermented for however long they fermented, but then I put them in a jar and they stayed there for quite a while. And that hot sauce was good. I love hot sauce, but it was just missing something, and it might have been the type pepper I used. It was good, but it wasn't, like.
What type of recipe was it? Was it like a vinegar, like pepper type recipe, or was there some other? Like, I was just experimenting with, so I don't know if you could really call it a hot sauce, but there was some tomatoes, there was some different peppers in there, there was some cumin. It was more of a, maybe I guess more of a salsa hot sauce type stuff. I mean, what went into your little hot sauce recipe here?
Just for Bumblebee Junction.
He's like, Mike can't even settle on a hat, let alone anything else. No kidding.
This hat Bumblebee Junction sent me. This was fermenting, so it was a saltwater solution, and I
don't even know what
I don't recall, but it was basically. I know somebody can answer this question for me. I cannot remember the salt to water ratio in that 1 quart mason jar, but it basically fermented, so it starts bubbling and all that good stuff. And I had the hot peppers and garlic in there. And then when it was done with all of its bubbling jazz, I ended up just still leaving it for quite a while. And then I strained it, but I held onto the liquid, put it all in the blender, and then added some of that liquid back into it. It was tasting right. And then I did add a little vinegar for flavor and a little extra salt for flavor, and it was good. I'd gotten a book out of that carousel package that we did. Was that this summer or fall or whatever? And I think Amy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amy Fuel put the book Wild Fermenting or Wild Fermentation or something
Something like that.
In that carousel package. And I saw that. I snatched
Snag
that out of there. And that's what I've been following.
Yeah.
Or, well, to a large degree. I'm looking a lot of stuff up online too. But Bumblebee Junction, that
Yeah.
was priceless.
I remember. Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, somebody, Doug and Stacy likes to ferment food.
Yes.
She does a lot of fermenting, so she might even be somebody to pick her brain.
In fact, I can't remember the exact name of it, but they have it arranged with a supplier to get 10% off.
Oh yeah, that kit.
To get the burping kit. So go check that out as well. But it's fermenting something I really know nothing about. I've tried sourdough, and I keep failing. But I think I keep failing because I forget about it and it turns into concrete.
Yeah. And I never go to the science corner, so.
As far as garden stuff, we're trying a whole bunch of different squash this year. We are not squash people.
No.
But we're trying.
Sticky.
So if you had to pick your absolute favorite thing that came out of your garden last year and the absolute worst thing, what items would that be? Because I know you guys had a pretty huge variety of stuff in your garden last year.
My go-to, I love jalapenos.
It does.
I think a disappointing thing from the garden last year. So the worst thing out of the garden, did we have a worse? Well, you don't like tomatoes.
Okay, 90% of what we grow, I won't eat. Tomatoes, peppers, onions, none of that. No, that's gross. I'll cook with it, but I will not eat it. It's nasty.
That would have been fun on the 30 random facts.
Yeah. I grow food I won't even eat. If I could grow chocolate, like I would be in heaven. If I could grow chocolate.
But what we struggled with last year, and we did not struggle at all with the first year, was lettuces and spinaches and cabbages, and it just didn't grow.
Kept dying off. And I think it was just because it was really hot and really dry for very long periods of time. And then we would get so much rain that it would like drown everything, and then it would be really hot, really dry again. It was bad. Yeah,
so and like I guess the one opposite is I'm not a huge cucumber pickle fan, but we did really good on cucumbers and pickles last year.
Yeah, we had like 25 jars of pickles by the time I was done. It was awesome. We actually just opened another one today. So good.
So let's flip that right back around, and how about, what are your answers?
Boy, I didn't think about that. Better think before I speak. I think pickles are always one of my favorite things that have come out of the garden. Let's see, last year our carrots, I didn't like how our carrots turned out, and I think some of it came down to our soil. I have to narrow that down. But we ended up getting much more of this stronger piney type taste to them. They were a little pungent, so I wasn't very happy with how our carrots turned out. We obviously got a nice harvest out of it, but just wasn't as excited about them, or we have to blend them more into stir fries and stuff. Instead of being able to eat a lot of them in the fall time, just kind of, just peeling them and eating them. So I think either that or I want to see our corn, but I'm not really blown away with the variety of corn that we did last year. Like it was great off the stalk, but canning and freezing, we've had better years or better tasting corn in the years past. We still haven't narrowed the variety that we want. This year we're trying a couple different ones, or trying a different one for our sweet corn this year. And one of the disclaimers, I don't know if we got that from Baker's Creek, or I know we had ordered some seeds from Johnny Seeds Company as well. But one of the big selling points of that was it was supposed to be a pretty decent one for the canning side of stuff. So that's one thing we're going to try. And also we're going to try changing up our canning experiment a little bit as well. We had saw this article, or basically I saw it in our canning book, talking about the best way to not get starchy corn is to go out there and pretty much pick it right off the stalk and drop it in. So what we're going to do is pull out the old turkey fryer and get that and do our blanching and get it going that way. So
I think it was.
Here, make Eric spit his water out.
I think it was Danny last year about peas.
Yep, I was just getting ready to say the same thing about to prevent getting starchy peas is like you need to have them in the canner as quick as possible after picking. Like you pick, you shell, canner, like within 45 minutes.
Is what Danny was saying. Yep.
Well, when you come in with 2 5-gallon buckets of peas, man, that's really hard to get it in the canner in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Even
that was the thing we did. I mean, we went out, we picked a lot of corn one night, right inside, cut them off and blanched, and then we got it going. But it was like we just aren't quick enough. That seems to always be one of our biggest struggles, or our most time-consuming thing with putting food up is a lot of the canning stuff, especially when you're doing like the pressure canning stuff, not the water bath, like the acid type canning. So it's just so time-consuming. And then unfortunately, I don't know if it's an unfortunate or a fortunate thing, but we have just propane out in our area, and our stove is set up for electric. So either at some point we should swap out our stove for a propane type setup, because I don't think with the glass top it's probably an ideal thing to run several pressure canners at the same time to help speed up that process. So
right, Eric, no problem. I want to say real quick, if she's still here, Michigan Snow Pony, thank you very much for dropping by. I'd like to say a very good friend of ours, Michigan Snow Pony is. We also found with canning last year, we did not, we're so new to all this, not to leave stuff in the canner. Like,
once it cools off,
you're done canning at 11, it's finally done, you turn the heat off. Well, you don't leave it in there till the next morning. Which
be nice and cooked in.
we did do that.
And I was watching, I believe it was Linda's Pantry said don't ever do that because it actually does some very bad stuff to it, or can.
Yeah, like changes
and we noticed that with our peas that got left in the canner overnight have a very awful taste. And
it just takes forever to cool.
That was just one of those things that we learned, and it won't happen this year.
Yep.
Jenny will just have to stay up.
Oh, great. That means I get to sleep in then, right?
All right, right. Sure, babe.
You gotta go hunting though, right?
Oh, thanks, Eric.
There you go. Oh, that's funny. That's good stuff. Well, I don't know. What else you got, Eric?
Boy, we had chatted so much. I wish we would have cut that back here. Last time I was drilling with you a bunch of stuff. I'm trying to think what other type of things we talked about. Maybe we could re-talk about some of those.
Well, did you have more questions on the pigs? Or was that pretty well covered? Because I know we were talking about pigs quite a bit last time.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about, I know we were talking about the processing, some of the struggles. You guys said just even with some of the butcher places, I think you guys had gone to 2 different places last year and noticed a pretty big difference. Maybe you guys want to talk a little bit about that? I think it was very useful information. I think if someone was getting into pigs and
I think
struggled.
Yeah, I think to start that, I would say definitely do your homework on your butchers and their processes before taking your livestock there. Because we knew of one butcher, but we were right around hunting season, and so we were like scrambling to get these pigs in.
I'm going to say it wrong. Kutsu Jungle. I think he said he was there saying goodbye.
Oh, okay. And so we got into another butcher that we didn't know anything about, hadn't ever used or anything like that, and their processing time frame and everything varied so much. So I would say to start that off, definitely like call them and ask them, how long does it take to do this, and what do you do with it, and
so
do
we
your
had
homework.
We had I would say an experiment. We had pigs go to one butcher, pigs go to another butcher, but what makes the experiment kind of null and void is we had different kinds of pig go to one butcher and a different kind of pig go to the other butcher. What?
Bumblebee Junction says that hat needs an exorcist.
This is the old original one right here. Look at this. It's actually fallen down. It's actually...
I've got to get rid of that thing.
So that Hereford, we took that Hereford to the butcher that we know and really like, and we had that pig back in 5 days. And the smoked pork chops are absolutely fantastic on that pig. The other, we kept 1.5 pigs this year, right? The other half pig that we kept was not the Hereford, and it was whatever it was. Whatever, yeah. But it went to the other butcher, and it came back. That other butcher took, I had 28 days, but was it over 30 days? Was it over a month?
It was 5 weeks.
Took 5 weeks to get our meat back, which, whatever. So those pork chops are extremely dry. And I was blaming the butcher for that. You know, you have the meat that long where you're thawing it and freezing it, to smoke it and everything. I mean, and those pork chops, those are the ones the kids eat. I'm just joking.
We suffer through it.
But so that same kind of pig, our parents split.
Yes.
And that pig went to the butcher with our Hereford. Went to the same butcher.
The one that we like.
And my dad just informed me last weekend that their pork chops are pretty dry.
Yeah.
He liked them. The flavor's good. He said all that, and he definitely wants to stay on board for getting pigs, but it was dry. So then now I don't think I should have been blaming the butcher necessarily for that drier meat.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, yeah, if you guys watched our videos, we had the Hereford, which was the brown and white one, and then
a Yorkshire something or another.
Yeah, factory rejects or something were the other three that I think I got taken for a ride on. But those ones we were definitely not happy with. Man, that Hereford is part of the experiment this year. If we end up not
deciding on not picking any of the 4 from this year, we might go back to that Hereford.
Yeah, that Hereford is definitely in the running as one to breed.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered your question. What was your question?
I don't even remember at this point. How long?
Different butchers.
He doesn't even remember.
Butchers. Oh my gosh.
How did your hams turn out? Because that's the one area that we process all our own selves, and from what I understand, a lot of the store-bought hams tend to be injected with water or whatever to help make them more juicy and flavorful. And we've even done I shouldn't say us, but our neighbor had done an experiment where they had used injected it with water and stuff, and they still ended up with pretty dry hams. And I haven't been able to figure out if it's just the variety of pigs that we're doing, because we tend to do like a Yorkshire because they're really well known for their meat quality, or if it is something in our process. So I was kind of curious. I mean, you guys had a Yorkshire mix of some sort. I mean, did your hams turn out pretty decent, or were they pretty dry as well, or?
We have not done one of the Yorkshire hams yet. Right. We've only done the Hereford hams. I would say we've done the bacon and the pork chops and a roast, and all of it is drier. So I would say that maybe something to consider, instead of doing a Yorkshire, find a different breed, which we really liked our Hampshire Berkshire crosses, and we really like the Hereford. But so far of what I've cooked of the Yorkshire, we just haven't been as pleased with it. So
Yorkshire or whatever that was.
Yeah, whatever that was. I would say maybe switch up the breed, and then if you're finding that it's still just not coming out, then maybe look at your technique at that point.
I think even the we really like that Hereford meat, and we really like that Berkshire Hampshire meat. But I don't think the hams are as moist as you could buy in the store. And I think that's because they're injected and they're sealed up in saline solution and everything else. But that Hereford and those Berkshire hams, no complaints whatsoever. The Hereford had quite a bit less bacon than the other, than our first year, the Berkshire hams.
Yeah, that was a lot of bacon.
We had like 24 pounds of bacon out of those.
Our
or
first
something.
year, yeah.
So I don't know. For me personally, I find that they are a little drier, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, last year we just ended up grinding up most of our hams for just ground. I also heard, or I just recently last year before we processed, we had read some stuff. I believe they were talking about the front shoulder, or like hams or whatever, are supposed to be a lot better than the backs. I believe that's how it was.
Would that be the picnic?
Yeah. So yeah, those front roasts. That's what we put in the smoker and make
Pulled pork
and stuff. The picnic and the shoulder. That's another thing. Different butchers seem to do it a little different or have different wording, but I believe somebody can correct me. This would be like your picnic roast, and this would be your shoulder roast.
Rain Country, no, he does not.
What?
Your hat's being auctioned off right now in the chat room.
Oh, hey. How much
Send
are we
the
up
money to Jenny. Yeah, keep it going.
No. It's funny, the topics of conversations. So, yeah, if I don't know if I know you kind of touched on, but isn't there like 4 families you do pigs with, and are you the one that's usually raising them?
We probably will from this point forward. It used to be kind of like a rotating thing. We really like doing that, raising them. It's just a fun thing. I have to admit, when it comes time in the fall to kind of part ways, it makes it a little bit more tough. But yeah, we basically have several neighbors that get in. We make sure everyone's committed to kind of taking their part in and everything, and then we kind of get the pigs dealt with. Yeah, we've been raising them here at our place. Years ago, basically the wife said, well, we don't want them at our place anymore, because the way they were set up and the way the wind generally tends to blow in our area, it was blowing right at the house, and the way we were kind of set up, it's generally always blowing away. I mean, they can get pretty stinky at times. So
yep, they can. Is still the hat thing going on?
Oh yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, I love having pigs around, and I know Jenny, especially the first year, loved having them around, and then was not very happy when they had to go.
Nope.
In fact, I tell people she actually, I think, fell into a little bit of a depression state.
They were awesome.
And they were awesome. Jenny kept her distance last year, but I just see pigs always being around here. That's another reason I want to do this experiment this year, is just start raising our own. Stop having to hassle around, look for piglets, and
drive 4 hours this way, and then drive 3 hours that way, and then go 2 hours.
Yeah, we're making a pretty big circle to get these 10 pigs.
We're doing a lot of traveling to get pigs.
But one reason for that is we're settling on breeds.
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably go get some feeder pigs here locally and just be done with it or whatever. But,
yeah. But we want something that's going to be easy to raise, easy to maintain, but a good quality meat with the fat, because we plan on using the fat to make soap, and so we got to have a good variety. And
your head can start. I started reading on different breeds of pigs, and you know what? I don't think there's a right answer on what breed to raise.
Yeah.
My head's just spinning.
Yeah.
But what else was there, babe? Oh yeah.
That was my question. I was wondering, like, what is your end goal? What are you hoping to reach and be your end goal there?
I left a hard one for her.
Look at him, like, sit back, like, I wasn't ready for this.
He's like, oh my gosh, what did she just do?
Our end goal. I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, to be honest, I mean, some of our objectives, we're just, I mean, part of the reason we moved out here is just to live a slower pace of life and be able to enjoy things and slow down and just enjoy things a little bit more. The other thing that kind of comes along with that is having the space and be able to, I mean, I think the biggest thing that has always really driven us, especially when it comes for like food consumption, I guess a lot of stuff, is just keeping our costs down. You can raise a lot of food for not much money. I think last year our garden cost us $100 probably in seeds and everything. And I can tell you, we put up a lot more food than $100 at a grocery store would do. So trying to find that balance. I don't think, I like to say is be as self-sufficient as possible. I don't know how far you can get down that road. We have a neighbor that has been born and raised his whole life here, and his dad, same sort of deal. And I've gone down and chat with them, and they farmed on large scales. But his dad would go hike into town, like in the winter, he'd cross country ski into a town that's about 16 miles away from us, and buy coffee. And there's like a handful of things that he'd always have to go in and get. So how self-sufficient, or where do you define the cutoff on what you can and can't survive with? I don't know. And that's always kind of a changing thing, I guess. You know, like you'd like to say, I like to eat as organically as possible and as healthy as possible, but I admit I do like to have an ice cream cone or something at times too. So it's just trying to find that balance.
Yeah, that's when you need like goats or a cow to milk to make the ice cream and feed them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's if you want to go that route, but Walmart's down the road too.
Yeah, that's actually, you bring up a really good point, actually, is I have this dream, you know, 100% self-reliant. That'd be awesome. But is that practical? No. It's really not. Like you said, even the old timers would run into town to get coffee, sugar, flour, all that good stuff. And could we produce enough wheat here to make bread like Jenny does? Well, actually,
Who's
could we?
grinding that down?
Yeah, actually we could. I saw some staggering numbers on, doesn't take very much wheat to supply enough for a family. It really doesn't, according to the numbers.
We go through a lot of bread.
But Jenny is killing the bread.
Always cranking out bread.
She's got that mastered. And then she made these, if you guys didn't see it on Instagram, she made these hamburger buns last night.
Yep.
They were really good. But yeah, so there's always stuff that you need. And then, so how far can you go with being self-reliant, self-sufficient, and not even, you know, caving to, I mean, there's some creature comforts we're always going to have. Do we need them? Probably not, but we're always going to have them.
And realistically too, I mean, like canning salt. I mean, we use a lot of canning salt in the fall time, and it's like that. I mean, you're always going to have to go in and buy something. It's a tough thing. I've always kind of romanticized, I guess, in some ways, of living in this log cabin out in the middle of the boondocks somewhere, you know. And but I think right now, with where we are and the resources that we have available, I think we can take things quite a bit further. But I think not having some different resources, the tractor is definitely a limiting thing for us, or I think we have to work a lot harder. It's a lot harder to scale up without a resource like that. So that's something down the road.
Yeah. It's and everybody's balance is going to be different. I mean, Jenny's and I's balances are different. I'd rather just stay right here, never leave, and if we starve, we starve.
Nice.
but I'm kind of like you. I would love, go drop me 500 miles away from anybody, drop me in the middle of the woods, put up a log cabin that I don't know how to build, and survive off the land, which I don't know how to do. That would be
pretty much.
That would be awesome.
Yep, you'll be
right?
living by yourself.
Right? That'd be awesome. Oh wait, by myself?
Bye. There's woods. Go build a little cabin over there.
Our little acre wooded area, but well, I don't. Eric, I think we could probably talk for another hour and a half.
Yeah, we've like well ran over.
Yeah, we're at like 10:30 now. And I know Jenny is whooped.
I think I get up early with the kids in the morning.
Yeah, I'm pretty worn out. It's been a long day. So
It has, yeah. And oh, I was gonna say something about getting up with the kids, but I won't.
No,
Okay.
I'm not a morning person, but he's completely different. Like he's a sit there and drink a cup of coffee and wake up, can't comprehend anything, and I'm get up like making sandwiches, and then I ship the kids off, and then I'm like, coffee, don't talk to me, coffee. It's like, don't say anything. I hope Grace sleeps another 30 minutes. Yeah, that's the way my morning is.
Oh yeah, we love seeing your kid. I don't know if people know, but your daughter and our daughter share the same name.
Yeah.
And we love seeing her in your videos too.
Yeah.
But no.
same deal. Grace gets a real kick out of it. I was trying to explain to her, like, this is another Grace or whatever, and blonde hair and everything. So
yeah, a lot of similarities. In fact, I overall see a lot of similarities between you guys and us. And well, I tell you, I really enjoyed chatting with you the other night. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. I feel like we have kind of completely ignored the subscribers in the chat, and I apologize for that, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the conversation here, because I know I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. I do want to, Danny or Wanda just asked if we're going to be at the conference center on Friday. We are coming into town Friday, and I have told Patera that if help is needed or anything at the conference center, we would be more than happy to swing by there. So she's just going to kind of keep us on a need-to-know basis kind of thing, I guess. But if you guys are going to be somewhere or whatever, just let us know.
There was a term on one of Danny and Wanda's live shows that Danny was talking about a phone call that Danny and I had. And because I called Danny, about that contest.
Yes.
And Danny and I got to talking for a long time, and what a great guy to talk to. And Zach from American Homestead referred to us as, you don't remember?
I don't remember.
Homestead Outlaws.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We cannot wait to meet Danny and Wanda, and I mean
everybody.
Yeah,
that's
everybody else.
You've got to find a way to come to these conferences, Eric.
Yeah, we gotta move down south a little bit.
Yeah, that's where Jenny wants to go. Jenny wants to go south, get away from the snow and stuff.
Yep.
I kind of like I like winters. And don't get me wrong, I love spring, summer, and fall, but I like having that period where there's lots of snow outside. Hopefully we can go sledding and all that stuff.
It's not like we take a break, because then we gear up for maple syrup and start planting gardens. I mean, it used to be a downtime, and now
Imagine me if there was no winter.
No. That's too much work.
All right, so if we've missed anybody, I think we should go ahead and jump off of here. Yes, I see Rain Country. Thank you. I did want to mention that she shared the Etsy store. Jenny's got lots of hats up in there and stuff, and
Dishcloths and
you put dishcloths and hair bows.
He hasn't even been on the store. He has no idea what's on there anymore.
So there's that. Eric, you got any last words, plugs? Tell people to go see you somewhere, whatever you got, man.
Not that I can think of.
Well, that was pretty quick.
I think Eric's ready for bed.
I'm an early riser. It's getting late on my side of stuff, and
yeah, no,
I need some caffeine or something.
What's that?
I need a little caffeine or something to get me perked up here.
Right. Okay, so we'll go ahead. Eric, Deep South Homestead is inviting you down to their place in the chat. Nice and hot there. I would love to go visit. And lots of other places I'd love to go visit too, but
I've seen Barry from Empty Hammock has gone down there a couple different times and stuff. And Daniel has gone down there, I think, at least once. It'd be really fun to make it down. Seen a couple different channels. Even Tommy from Off Grid Nation. I know he's changed his. Yeah, it's Off Grid Nation now. So it's been kind of fun seeing other channels get to go down there and see a little bit of the behind the scenes a little bit. And
yeah,
I'd like
Dirt Patch Heaven was down there. Danny and Wanda seem to have a revolving door. There's always somebody at their place, which is awesome.
They need to open a bed breakfast or something down there.
Exactly.
They could make a killing. All right, Eric. We really appreciate it. If you guys please, all of Eric's links are in our description. Please go check out all of Eric's stuff. His YouTube videos are phenomenal. His Instagram posts are great. Remember, go check out that one 2 or 3 days ago.
Candy picture.
Candy picture. You'll see it. Candy bars and
Get a good chuckle.
All right. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Eric. If you got nothing else, I think we'll go ahead and we'll say goodbye to everybody and go ahead and end this.
All right. Appreciate you guys having me on. It was really fun to chat.
Thank you.
Awesome, Eric. Thanks.
All right.